everything was going all right until this time last week. I've got bursitis, or I've got bursitis in my knee. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode 8. Today's Friday the 14th of June. It is 11:15 this morning. I've had a couple of classes this morning. I've had 6 a.m, 7:15 and 9:30. Really nice classes. Done some strength workouts, some deadlifts and bits and pieces. And my training was going really well up until this time last week. So what happened? Last Thursday, I woke up in the morning, and my knee, the very top of my kneecap, the very centre of my kneecap, felt like there was like a bit of a spot or like a bite or something, like a bug bite or something like that. Nothing there, no spot, no cut or anything like that. But it was really distinctive feeling in there, like when you get like an itch from a bite or like a spot that you can't quite pop, one of those like deep, juicy red ones. And I thought nothing of it. So I coached in the morning, 6 a.m. I did my bike workout on the watt bike at about 8:30 in the morning. Went for a swim at 12, did my usual routine. Everything was fine. Came back to coach in the evening, 5 o'clock. Knee was a little bit kind of itchy. And it got a little bit red on the kneecap. And then it was progressively getting a little bit worse throughout the evening. And by the time I finished at 8:30, I left to go back home. And by the time I got back, I couldn't walk on my leg. So I couldn't put any pressure on my leg. It was really painful. And it had swelled up big time. This is what it looked like on Thursday evening, last Thursday. So as you can see, it's bright red. It was very, very warm to touch. It was pulsing, just very uncomfortable. So took a couple of paracetamol, came back, woke up in the morning, same feeling. And then I had a bit of a conversation with a couple of members, and one of the ladies that is a member, she took a picture of it to send to a knee specialist that she works with. Later in the afternoon, I was at the doctor's. I booked an appointment, went to the doctor's, and as I was in the car park, the member texted me saying it looked like the specialist looked like it said it was bursitis. So I went into the doctor's appointment, had a bit of a consultation with the doctor, and they sort of said, yeah, it's bursitis. No training for at least 2 or 3, or no heavy leg work for at least 2 or 3 weeks. So this week has been no training. I have been told I could swim, but you know what, I thought I'd take the week off just to make sure my leg feels completely good. And yesterday's the first day I've had very little discomfort, and today's the first day I can kind of bend my leg in, like this position. I've got a little bit of tenderness around here. A little bit of tenderness at the bottom of the kneecap, but this is the first time I've been able to get my leg into almost like a squat position, like a full range around the kneecap. So that's obviously a pretty good feeling, but it still doesn't feel quite right. So the doctors obviously said, at least 2 or 3 weeks off work. 2 or 3 weeks off work. That would be nice, but 2 or 3 weeks off training, no running, no cycling, and it's just not the best timing. So training was going really well. This week was meant to be a deload week anyway, but there was still, 12 hours a week of training. I haven't swam, I haven't cycled, I haven't ran, obviously. But what I have done is I've done 2 strength workouts, mostly upper body. I've done 2 variations of deadlifts today and 1 on Wednesday. One was an RDL. Wednesday was a little bit painful to bend my knee, so I did a sumo RDL. So I was still getting some hamstring and some glute work in there. And then today it feels much better, so I did a more conventional deadlift because I had more knee bend, but I just haven't pushed the weight. So, and the rest of it's been upper body based. So that's been nice to get back into some strength training, but I haven't half felt it. My chest is killing from bench press on Wednesday. So, yeah, a bit of gutting, obviously, regarding the timing. So, obviously, the only event that I'm think I'm going to be able to do before September is a half Ironman in 2 Sundays' time, and that's in Shropshire. So I'm hoping if I have just to give myself this week off, just kind of no cycling or anything over the weekend, just going to just relax, rest my leg, ice it, which has been the main treatment this week, has been just been icing every lunchtime for sort of 20-30 minutes. And we'll go to what else I've done regarding that as well. But that's the only event I think I'm going to be able to do before September. So I don't particularly want to miss that. Even if it's not particularly fast, I'm not too bothered. It's more about the food on the day, food the few days before, like a bit of carb loading, and also just testing out transitions and bits and pieces. I don't really care like what I do actually in that event. It's more about just practicing the bits that go into the event. So make sure, checking bike and that kind of stuff, and, feeling all right. However, I'm in two minds because it's not super sensible, I'd presume, to do, maybe, a couple of weeks off training and then do a half marathon and a 50-yard mile bike ride. So that's on my mind a little bit. But it's the only chance I get to kind of practice that event. So I'm in kind of two minds whether to do that or not. But let's talk about what I've done for recovery this last week, just to help that feeling along regarding my leg. The doctor told me to take some sort of painkillers just to kind of numb the pain. The only time I've taken tablets was on the Thursday night when I was in quite a bit of discomfort, and I took 2 paracetamol. The rest of the time I haven't. I'm a big fan of just kind of, if I can get away with natural healing and natural recovery in any form, I'll do that, preferably over anything that's going to be, have knock-on side effects. So what I have done is I've iced it every lunchtime with an ice pack that's moldable. So I've kind of wrapped it around my leg, worked with my leg up, and sat on a chair, but put my leg out straight in front of me, so the ice pack stays on my leg. Obviously, I've iced it in the evening when I can. And what I have done is I've taken quite a high dosage of fish oil, obviously anti-inflammatory. So I use the Hahn & Barrett 1200 milligrams 1 a day tablets. I've had 8 of those a day, so a super high dosage of anti-inflammatory. I've tried to sleep better, tried to work on my sleep a little bit more, stay hydrated, drinking at least 3 litres of water a day, just to flush out any toxins and bits and pieces. I've tried to eat really well, tried to get more vegetables in. Obviously, my appetite's been way down what it would usually be, so I've definitely eaten less, but I still try to maintain the same routine of eating, so I don't get out of the habit of that routine. But yeah, definitely my food intake has gone down this week, whether it be like electrolytes, carb drinks, just general appetite regarding meals. So I've definitely eaten a little bit less, but that's okay, that's fine. The need's been less, so I haven't done that, but I've tried to eat well. I had lots of protein, tried to keep my protein requirements consistently high, even though I'm not needing the recovery of that in the training form, but obviously recovery for getting better and healing, that's obviously fine. And the other thing I have done is taken 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Now my evening drink generally is a turmeric hot chocolate. So I used a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of turmeric and half a teaspoon of cacao powder with a little bit of honey and some coconut milk. That's my general evening drink as a wind down drink. I find it's a nice little, what feels like a little treat, but there's obviously a lot of good stuff going into that. And then turmeric in my smoothie in the morning, or in some sort of food, but it's generally 99% of the time been in a smoothie. So I tried to have a lot of turmeric, a lot of fish oil, and obviously just a lot of water, and just the basic things for recovery to coincide with that. I'm a big believer in, there's a whole debate in the fitness world, obviously, whether you overtrain or you under-recover. And I'm a big believer in under-recovering. Not a big believer in under-recovering. I think you should recover, obviously, but I'm on the side of under-recovery. So I think for me, the training volume's been fine, and I've handled the training having no background in some of the domains, obviously, long distance running, the amount of running I'm doing, and the biking, even to the fact that the swimming, obviously I haven't done that volume since I was like a teenager, like early teens. But I think the run and the cycle, predominantly probably the running, is the one that causes the most damage. We see a lot of runners obviously with knee issues and ankles and hips and back and things like that. So, but I think the volume's been okay, and I've managed it all right regarding food and volume. I think the thing that lets me down is my sleep. And I'm currently doing a course on sleep, stress management and recovery, and it's made me think about a few things regarding the training and how it's impacting other areas, like I've mentioned in a few videos back, specifically regarding the stress of training. Not so much obviously like being injured, but obviously when we see injuries, there's obviously a stress there that's been accumulated potentially, or if it's not a contact injury, like immediately impacting it. If it's an accumulation, which I think this one probably is, the doctor said it might have been like that accumulation of intensity and volume over the last few weeks. Then I think for me, I'm on the side of under recovering. My food's good, which I'll need to do a quick video regarding that at some point, so you can see what I'm eating. But calories are okay for the amount of work I'm doing. I'm eating well. There's enough protein, carbs, fruits and vegetables, anti-inflammatory foods, like I mentioned obviously earlier. I've just stepped that up this week to help the healing process. But for me, it's the sleep thing, and maybe elements of stress the last couple of weeks. So touching on sleep, we always say to people you should be getting sort of 7 to 8.5 hours, even 9 potentially if you feel really tired or just feel like you need that much. But as an adult, we're looking at sort of 7 to 8 hours a night consistently. Mine on a good day, on a weekend, potentially if I'm lying in, which I know is not the best thing. We tend women not generally not to do that, but I play catch up a little bit with my sleep. I can get 8.5 hours, which is a really good sleep, and I feel really good on that. And then my body feels thankful for it when it does happen. However, during the week, regarding work pattern, my sleep's not the best. So I get about 6 to 6.5 hours most evenings during the week, which just isn't enough for me regarding the amount of training and work and stress and that kind of stuff to help recover. So that's the thing that lets me down. And it's nothing I can particularly do about that because it's my work pattern. Unless I just stop working or alter my work routine. Or the other thing is reducing the volume of training. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking. So regarding sleep, that's where I'm currently at with it, and that's not going to change anytime soon. And the other thing is obviously stress. So the last couple of weeks have been fairly stressful with a number of different things. One being my car. So I had a big hit financially with my car the other week, which was quite a stress. So that definitely impacted my sleep. I felt like my train was okay and I could push the train, but again, that's not something you should be doing if you're super stressed, and it can impact, injuries and bits and pieces. So that's all had an impact, I think, the last number of weeks. And obviously doing this kind of sleep, stress management and recovery course, it delves into deep health, which we spoke about the other week, a few videos ago. And it tells you obviously that even if it's a physical stress where you've got a lot of training volume, that can then impact this, and this. If you're not recovering, that'll impact this, and this. And those stresses will impact not just that one area, but every area. So even if it's a physical training stress, your demands for, nutrition physically, obviously to prepare for that training, but then obviously that'll impact your mental well-being, your work, all that kind of those different areas of life. Those stresses will eke into that, whether it's, a physical stress or a mental stress or an environmental stress. There's all these things that feel like it's that one thing, but actually will play around with every area of your life. So I think that's what's been potentially happening with me the last number of weeks. Maybe a little bit more stressed, higher volume, higher intensity. That also increases an increased stress level. I think maybe it's just accumulated into a bursitis knee. I don't think I mentioned in the gym what bursitis is. So this is what it is. We've had a few members actually over the years, or not just here, but other places, that have had it on their elbows. And I didn't realise it was called housemaid's knee, where there's obviously like pressure on the knees or pressure on the joint. But yeah, that's what bursitis is. The doctors and people have said it's about 2 weeks. If you go on the internet, which is not the best resource, but you can find some good resources on there, 2 to 3 weeks. So this is the first day I mentioned that I can physically bend my leg, my heel to my heel to my hamstring, and get my foot in that position. There's only a slight discomfort, but it's like a 2 out of 10. It's really, really low. So I'm hoping actually over the weekend, if I can get a bit more recovery, a bit more ice, good food and that kind of stuff, it'll clear up over the middle of next week. Next week I want to get back to some swimming. So I want to get back into the pool and regain that swimming, because it's just that skill of the specific domain. So the skill of running, the skill of being on the bike, the skill of being in the pool with the technique. So those are things I think I've missed this week. But it's obviously needed time off. And it's been quite nice having that time off. This week was like I say, a bit of a deload anyway. One thing I think I'm going to do going forward is, I know the training volume on the advanced program which I'm doing increases again in like 4 weeks time. I don't think I'm going to be able to hack it in the terms of recovery. I think I can do it physically, and I know I can push myself to do the training, but I think in the book, which is always on me now, I'm always referring to what's coming up the following week. in the advanced program, like I say, it goes to sort of 16, 17, 18, up to 20 hours in that last 10 weeks. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do it regarding recovery and sleep. I think it's going to be even more of a stress. And the last thing I want to do is take, a week or two off in that last final 10 weeks, the last little push where the work's being put in to peak for that event. The last thing I want to do is do myself any harm. So I think what I'm going to do going forward, once this knee's sorted out, is go to the intermediate program, which is what I started on initially. And I thought I might be able to do that more doable regarding time, but now I think it's more doable for recovery. So the only difference of the program between the intermediate and advanced in this, from what I can see, is there's a few less intense bouts in the running every session. Instead of doing 4, there's 2 or 3 on the intermediate one, and on the weekends, the Saturday sessions have been the last few number of weeks have been a bike into a short half an hour run. On the intermediate days, there's no run, so there's just less running intensity and less volume, which I think I'm going to be probably better at. And I'm also thinking quality over quantity. It's been my initial thought was, when I do the Ironman, go all in on the training, put whatever I can into it, and do my best, which I think is still the case. I still want to do my best and still want to get on the start line and think I've done what I can in every way possible. And I think knowing that I've done what I can up to this point, and maybe taking a step back a little bit regarding training hours and volume and intensity, I know I've done my best to manage it. So I'm quite happy with that. Plus I've learned a lot regarding sleep and how that affects the volume of training, which is obviously not, I'm not a stranger to being a professional coach. But that's what I'm thinking. So a couple of exciting weeks coming up. We're going to probably finish the video here, but coming up, I got my wetsuit the other week, which I can't remember if I mentioned that. So I'd like to go and test that out before hopefully doing that half Ironman in Shropshire in a couple of weeks' time. I want to get back to some normal training, hopefully next week, maybe middle of next week, depending on how my knee feels. Even if it's just going out for a sort of 20-minute jog, just testing it out, or like a 30-minute bike or whatever, just to test it out. I'm dying to get out on my actual road bike now the sun's out a little bit and getting a bit clearer and better weather. So I'm hoping to get back to that. And obviously I'll need a bit of increase in food. So I'm hoping that balance of obviously slightly lower volume, slightly lower intensity will equal more quality over quantity, and be able to get the most out of it. Plus it's been really nice this week doing some strength work, and I've really missed that strength element, which I haven't done as much as I thought I would do. So I would like to do at least twice a week going forward, just to maintain some strength, some muscle mass, and some healthy joints and bits and pieces. So I think that will help all those bits that need it. So yeah, it's a bit gutting, but in some ways obviously it's a learning experience. Keeping a positive spin has a big impact on your recovery, and I think I've done that really well the first time I had a little niggle, and obviously this time as well. I've not let it get me down. Just tried to sort of focus on recovery, things I can focus on. And it's a bit cliche, but it does work and it does make a massive difference. So yeah, that is episode 8, bursitis. So let's go into week 17 next week on Monday. Hopefully we're getting a bit more training in there and getting back into the pool. So catch you on the next episode. Have a great day and see you on the next one.